This is the plaintiff, Larry Campbell. He says the defendant was a friend of his, but then he broke the handle on the door of his car and refuses to pay, so they are friends no more. Just because the guy claims he's broke is no excuse not to pay him for the damages he caused. And he's here suing him for the $474.49 he's owed. This is the defendant, Lonnie Eppard. He says he tried to open the door in the plaintiff's car and the handle broke. He doesn't have superhuman strength or anything. All he did was open the door, like any normal person would do, and he's sorry. But he didn't do anything wrong and doesn't owe his former friend a thing. He's accused of busting it, but good.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff and the defendant were really good friends until the defendant broke the door handle on the plaintiff's car. But the defendant won't pay up for the damage he caused, and here they are in court. It's the case of get a handle on it.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
All right, Mr. Campbell, what happened?
What happened was on Christmas Day, I invited Lonnie Eppard to join me at my brother's house because he had no place to go on Christmas. And we were pulling up, I was driving, and we were pulling up the car at my brother's house. And because I hadn't turned off the car yet, the child locks were still on. And when I turned off the car, Lonnie showed me a broken handle. Apparently, he had tried to open the door prior to when the locks became unlocked.
What kind of car is this?
This is a 2003 Elantra.
Okay, if I try to open a door and it's locked, what happens is it just doesn't open. How does the door handle come out of my hand?
Well, he snapped it. He pulled it so hard that he broke the handle.
How exactly were you alerted to the fact that something had gone wrong?
Well, when I turned off the car and I was about to get out, Lonnie said, "Oh, here, I broke the car door handle. I'll pay for it."
Okay. So it's not like you heard a snap or anything. He just felt bad. He had a door handle in his hand. He gives it to you. He says, "I'm going to pay for it."
I didn't hear the snapping of the door handle.
All right. So what happens?
So what I did after that, I took it to an automotive, my mechanic, and they replaced the door handle, but also found that the locking mechanism was also damaged, and so they had to take out the window, put a new locking system in there. And so the bill came out to the $400+.
Which comes first, the chicken or the egg? How do I know that him trying to open a door broke that system as opposed to that system being broken is the reason he couldn't open the door or the reason the doorknob came off?
Well, I get it checked every so often. I take my car in for servicing. It's never been a problem. I've had other people on that side, the passenger side, open the door. There was never any problem.
I know there's never a problem until there's a problem, and your car is old enough to vote. I'm sure it's in great shape and everything. It's a 19-year-old car. Let me hear from you, Mr. Eppard. What's your defense?
I got into Mr. Campbell's car to go to his brother's house. And once we got there, I tried to open the door. It didn't open. He told me to wait until he unlocked it. So he tried to unlock it 3 different times. And I guess the 3rd or 4th time when I pulled on the handle, it broke. So then he kept on saying, "You broke my car door. You broke my car door." And just kept on saying that. And then I finally, because we was at his brother's house, I didn't want no hassle or anything. So I told him, "Well, give me the make and model and the year of the car. I'll check on the part and I'll fix it myself." I even Googled to show how easy it was to fix. He did not say, okay, nothing.
And then what happened?
Then also I sent information about wear and tear on the car handle and also on the locking mechanism, saying that,
talk to me about that.
When a car is really old or it's got a lot of miles on it.
When a car is really old or a lot of miles on it, what?
The wear and tear will break the handle. And also on the handle, it states that it takes 2,500 pounds of vertical force or 2,000 pounds of horizontal force to break the handle. I'm not Superman.
Let me ask you a question. According to you, he was trying to unlock it and it wouldn't unlock?
Yes, I'm assuming that one of the symptoms of a car door lock is that if it's going bad, it will sometimes work, sometimes it won't work.
Okay, were you hearing, like there's a specific sound that trying to unlock a car makes, like there's a noise that it makes. Were you hearing that noise over and over?
Yes, I was hearing that noise, but I'm not sure if it was coming from my side of the car or his side of the car.
Okay, Mr. Campbell, were you trying to unlock the door and unable to unlock it?
No, that's not true. I turned off the ignition and then the locks automatically open. At that point is when Mr. Eppert showed me the lock.
Okay, I'm going to need some evidence from you that will explain to me how this is his fault. Because if all he's doing is trying to open a door, that is the normal and customary usage of a door handle, is to try to open the door. So if what he's doing is trying to open the door, you shouldn't have $500 of damage based on that, unless there's something else that's already wrong, like the locking mechanism is failing, and that's the reason why things go wrong. What did he do besides pull the handle?
The handle snapped off. And
right, I understand it snapped off. So it either snapped off because it's 19 years old, and you have a broken lock mechanism, or it snapped off because he was bouncing on it like a gorilla. So I need to hear what he did other than the normal thing a human does in the passenger seat when the car stops, which is try to get out. Trying to get out, if it turns out it breaks your handle just by normal usage, then the odds are it's not his fault. And I realize he said he'd pay for it, and now he's changed his mind. But, it is what it is. So I have to decide, well, is he responsible legally for paying for it? Because promising to pay for something is not a contract that you can enforce. Those are just words. I have to now go back to square one and see, did he break it? How did he break it? Well, if all he does is try to open the door and you have to repeatedly try to unlock it, then there's something wrong with the locking mechanism, obviously.
He tried to open it before it came unlocked when I turned off the ignition.
And normally if one does that, you don't get $500 in damages. You just can't get out of the car, right? If there's nothing wrong with your car before that, then he just can't get out. Oh, okay, unlock the door. Oh, you unlocked it now? Okay, and then he can get out. Because I've been getting in cars my whole life. So we both know how it's supposed to normally work. So if it didn't work then, that is even more evidence that there's nothing that he did unusual that would cause him to have to pay for this damages. I'm sorry that your car had a problem, but this is your problem and not his, and I'm ruling in favor of the defendant.
So the plaintiff does not get $474 from the defendant. He does not prevail in this lawsuit. Mr. Campbell, let me ask you something. What do you think about the judge's decision? How do you feel?
Well, obviously, I disagree with it. Like I said, he forced the lock before the door was officially unlocked when I turned off my ignition.
I know, you know yourself, he didn't mean to do that. What about the friendship you had with him? How's that been affected by this?
Well, he's not taking my calls or anything like that, so, I'm always open to, communication, but...
Yeah, well, you've heard the judge. He's not responsible. That's the legal verdict here, so I'm sorry, but you're going to have to live with that. Maybe your friendship is over because of it. Who knows? Mr. Eppert, how do you feel now? You're off the hook. You okay with that?
Yes, I am. I just felt like that wear and tear, like if I would open the door and the hinges was rusted and the door fell off, I don't think that would be my fault.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think that'd be your fault either. All right, the friendship is over then. How do you feel about that?
Yes, it's over because I did send him an email explaining about how much pressure it takes to break the door handle. Also, that I would never do this to a friend, ask somebody to pay for something that was worn out. And I feel like I'm being taken advantage of. Forget it.
Well, that sounds he went overboard. No question about that.
Doug, I love this case, and I actually love the decision especially, and I'll tell you why. When you sue somebody for damaging or ruining your property, you have to prove they did something wrong. And that is usually one of two things. It's almost always one of two things. It's either negligence or it's intentional. And if it's negligent, meaning that somebody didn't use reasonable care in doing what they were doing in handling your property and broke it, you can get your money for the item, and the same if it's intentional. But if it isn't negligent and if it isn't intentional, it's simply tough luck.
Why do people swear to tell the truth while taking an oath and then lie during testimony? Isn't this perjury, or are the rules relaxed because it's small claims?
The rules are not relaxed.
Not relaxed. An oath is an oath is an oath.
Yeah, when you raise your right hand and swear to tell the truth, you do so under penalty of perjury. If somebody could prove that you perjured yourself knowingly, intentionally, willfully before a court, yeah, you could be subject to prosecution.
They could sue you civilly, and you could be prosecuted criminally.
You could get indicted for perjury.
Yeah, there's no relaxed rules. The thing is, you know, people like you're saying that person lied because I don't agree with them.
Right.
So you have to be able to prove that they lied and that it was intentional.
Right. Well, and perjury is not an easy crime to
it's not.
prove for a prosecutor. I was a prosecutor for 17 years as an assistant U.S. attorney. How many times do you think I charged somebody with perjury?
Even though in probably every single one of your trials somebody lied,
Right.
defendant lied.
Zero. I've never brought a perjury prosecution. Obstruction of justice once, but for something similar. But it's a tough crime to prove in a courtroom. And yes, some people have kind of a liberal attitude about what the truth is when they come in. And that's where you come in.
Right.
It's your job to separate the wheat from the chaff and figure out who's telling the truth, right?